Good morning, space fans. Today we have one story, but it's an investigative story with a lot of updates, so let's see how it goes. The title is 42 male, think my wife, 40 female, may be cheating. I think we might know where this is going, but let's listen to the story. I've been wondering if my wife is cheating lately, but I don't know what to do about it because I don't have any solid proof, so I don't want to confront her for bringing it up in case nothing is happening or to have her cover things up. Just minor things and a spiky sense about 4 months ago, she began exercising more and became much more conscious of her appearance. She was very attractive but never really wore makeup or did much with her hair. She also became protective of her phone, which I know was a bad sign because it's common for us to use each other's phones, but it never leaves her side, and if I ask her to take a picture or something, she tells me to use mine. She has also been staying late at work more frequently and taking a few. I tried to initiate with her a few times, and she rejected me a few times, and a few times she let me go through with it but wasn't engaged and just lay there. It made me feel really bad, worse than being rejected outright. I brought up the lack of intimacy a while back, and she said that she was constantly exhausted from being a mother. She hasn't initiated any kind of intimacy and only gives me pecking kisses during the last 4 months due to more out-of-town business trips. She told me she would try to do a better job and kiss me later that night, but nothing has changed. I've wondered if this is some sort of midlife crisis. There's a guy at work that I think could be trouble. My wife used to talk about him a lot, but she stopped mentioning him a few months ago, but I know they still work closely together. He's married, has children, and told my wife that he's having marital problems. I've met him a couple of times, and he admitted to having marital problems. I'm big and strong, and he's not nearly as attractive or in as excellent of shape as me. I don't mean to brag, but he's kind of average and a little overweight, but he dresses flashily, is gregarious, and enjoys drinking, even though my wife has said on a few occasions that she wishes I would occasionally go out drinking. I graduated high school, and he has a master's degree. He also earns a lot more money than I do, and I train fighters. I bring up all of that as my assessment of how we differ. And love what I do, but make a very modest living. This guy probably makes 6 times as much as I do, and he flaunts what he has. The biggest thing that I've been wondering about is that this last trip for work was to a tropical resort, and I thought there were a lot of them going, but it turned out that it was just my wife, this flashy guy, and the CEO, who is very old and doesn't really interact socially. He is just all business in my mind. My wife and this other guy spent a lot of time together that week doing who knows what, and I want to see if my intuition is correct, but I don't want to make things worse by accusing her or asking. Our marriage has had some ups and downs over the years, but overall, I've had a fairly satisfactory marriage with no major problems or anything. I'm not the most gregarious guy, and I don't make much money, which has been a minor problem for my wife. She claims that I'm not living up to my potential and that I could earn a lot more money doing something else. I don't mean to give the impression that she is infatuated with money, but I know that women feel more at ease when their nest eggs are larger. She believes that I can do other things, but I'm not really qualified for anything other than fighting, training fighters, which has essentially been my entire life, or perhaps working as a personal trainer. None of these things are significant sources of income, but aside from that, she seems content. Stated that I should keep my suspicions to myself and begin taking steps to spy and gather evidence if it exists, but I feel uncomfortable about invading her privacy. If she is cheating, I can't imagine ever staying with her. I hope I'm mistaken, but thoughts of her cheating are beginning to cross my mind, and I feel like I need to find out. In any case, we have 2 children, and that's the part that worries me because I'm involved in every aspect of my children's lives, and it would break my heart to only see them half the time. Sorry for the lengthy post, but now that we've set the scene, let's move on to the most recent information. I was able to obtain the login credentials for our cell phone account, and everything seemed normal until I started organizing the numbers and noticed that there were a lot of texts. One particular number occasionally appears very late at night, a few hours after we go to bed. I'm going to determine whose number that is and figure out how to access her phone, to see what name it is saved under. I became emotional and frustrated after seeing this. I tried to convince myself that it might have been a mistake or that she had a girlfriend last night. I tried to initiate, expecting to be rejected, and she said she was sorry, but she was too tired and had a headache. I told her that I felt like we weren't connecting well, and she said she was sorry and would try to be better. She also said that the last time I didn't push the issue or anything, I just said goodnight, and when I went to bed this morning, she told me she was. I was considering going to Vegas with a girl who doesn't gamble, so I asked who she would go with. She said that a few of the girls were friends from college, so maybe this is all a coincidence, but a lot of things are looking strange. I finally did some snooping and looked at the detailed cell phone records online, and I saw that there were hundreds of texts sent to one number in the middle of the night. I called the number from a payphone and went to. I was able to obtain her phone while she was taking a shower, and the text exchange was erased. Additionally, the guy's number and a woman's name were saved on her phone. I'm now quite concerned about the out-of-town trips she took with this guy, so I had to leave the house and gather myself. I managed to get my act together long enough to return home, but I'm not sure what to do if I confront her about what I have. Will likely explain it away. I'm not sure if I should try to keep it quiet and gather more evidence, or if I should come out with it sooner. I'm really upset with her, but I also want to go after the other guy. I'm afraid she'll confess to inappropriate flirting, and I won't have enough proof to convince her to do so. Any suggestions on when to confront her? I'm going to avoid her while she's texting him, then interrupt her and ask who. Let's see how this tale develops with update 2. She is messaging me to see whether she is telling the truth. I pretended to be asleep last night after everyone had gone to bed, waiting to see if she got out of bed to use her phone. Sure enough, she wakes up a little after midnight, goes into another room, and shuts the door. I wait for a few minutes, then get up, open the door, and approach her, telling her that I couldn't sleep and asking what she was doing. I caught her in the middle of texting, and I was standing over her too quickly for. She said she couldn't sleep either and was texting her girlfriend, so I watched her hand as she slowly tried to put the phone away. I had a plan, so I went ahead and kissed her and asked if she wanted to play around. When she said she couldn't, I started to laugh and tickle her, saying that she must be more into the girlfriend than me. I then began to playfully wrestle her and got the phone, and I could see the panic in her eyes. I told her that I was going to call this girlfriend and ask her if she was into my wife. My wife yelled out, "Please don't call her," so I started to walk away and pulled up the text messages. I saw one that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." I pressed the call feature, and it seemed like it took forever, but sure enough, the guy answered. I hadn't planned out what to say, so I laughed and pretended to be having fun the entire time. Simply hung up. I then began reading the text aloud to my wife, asking her if she thought her girlfriend had responded or if a guy had responded. She said she didn't know why she was sending it to a guy at night. I asked her if she needed to tell me anything, but she was silent. Later, I informed her that I had examined her cell phone records and knew everything, including when she would wake up to text this guy and who he was. She began to cry and apologize, but I remained composed and told her that the next few minutes were crucial and that there would be serious repercussions if she didn't tell me the whole truth. She claimed that she had begun flirting with her coworker, who was having marital problems, and that it had turned into flirting. She said she had never done anything with him, but I was afraid she would only confess what I already knew. I told her that she couldn't tell me the whole truth and that she needed to pack her bags and leave, and she complied as she sobbed. Before she left the house, she apologized and asked if I was going to leave her. I told her that it was late and we would talk about it later. She then went to her mom's house, and I haven't seen her since, but she was blowing up my phone, so I turned it off. I want my wife to think that I want to work things out for a while, so I'm going to try to find a marriage counselor and schedule an appointment. When I do that, I'll explain that I am at counseling to be guided through the process of split. I planned out the entire thing last night because I wanted to protect myself by recording everything on my phone while I was pretending to wrestle with her and tickling her. I asked my friend if it was legal for me to record in our state, and he said it was. I don't think she would ever accuse me of anything, but if I leave her, she might become desperate. I am 6'4" and an athletic 240 pounds, and I used to be a fighter, and now I train fighters, so if there is a claim of abuse, I won't be believed, I'll be arrested, and I'll lose my children. Therefore, I intend to document everything going forward as an insurance policy. I'm devastated right now. My entire family has been devastated, and I will miss the lives of 50 of my children as they grow up. I suspected something, but I'm still in shock, and the worst part is that this is only the beginning. I want to confront the other guy, but I will have to control myself because he said I looked terrifying. I would like to frighten him when he first saw me. I also noticed that he called me the animal in one of the texts after she said that I wasn't very intelligent. I don't have a college degree or a lot of money, but I'm a curious person who reads a lot of books on a variety of subjects. I'm not the smartest guy, but I feel like I'm not stupid. I'll try to update as things progress, but I'm just devastated because he promised to update. He has the third update. In addition to the fact that he was allegedly cheated on, my lawyer friend was able to suggest a family law specialist. According to my friend, this lawyer will be flexible with fees and interested in helping. Perhaps this is the bright side of the ledger. On the other hand, my wife confessed to the affair, telling me that it began as flirting and developed into an emotional affair, but never became physical, and I saw through that. She eventually acknowledged that it became physical, which was when she ended our intimacy. I learned more about it than I had anticipated, and it was a very hot and steamy affair. To say that this has completely messed me up would be an understatement. I'm struggling with my emotions and can't think clearly. I told my wife that it would be best for her to stay with her mother for the time being and that I would take care of the children. I've also not told her that our marriage is over. She will discover that when she receives the papers, which will be soon. I can't stop the intrusive images of my wife and this guy from running through my mind. I coach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for professional and semi-professional fighters, and I'm trying to give them as much attention as I can on the physicality of my. I've always been a cheerful person, but seeing that they were calling me a stupid animal and imagining all the other things they might have said has really affected me. My job seems to have been helpful, of course, and I'm also giving my all to my kids outside of BJJ. My passion is learning about new topics, and I usually read for a few hours at night to relax, but I haven't been able to finish a paragraph without losing focus. Several of my friends' wives have jumped into action and said they know attractive women who want to hook up with me, including some who know me and are very interested in my upcoming single status. I won't date until this is over, and probably not for a while after that, but having many options is nice. It definitely helps to feel like I have support. My life has been chaotic, but I wanted to log back into this disposable account and give an update on my situation. I had discovered my wife having an affair and that she believed I was foolish and a loser because I didn't earn a high salary. I filed for divorce and it should be finalized next month. Right now, it's all about the kids. I will try to update at some point soon. My wife is hysterical and pushing to stay married because she knows I can't get over what she did. Our current legal situation is that we will have 50-50 as custody, and she will be paying spousal support because she makes a lot more money than I do. Now let's talk about the other fallout. I'm devastated and so are my kids. I never imagined that I would be a single father, but here I am, and my wife appears to be going into some sort of depression. The guy she cheated with decided that she wasn't worth the trouble. Based on what I've been told, she has begun drinking and going out with a lot of random guys she meets online. As a handful of, my kids don't understand that every second they aren't with me, I feel miserable and lonely all the time. I haven't spent much time with friends, and I've mostly stayed at home. There have been times when she called me and pleaded with me to take her back so she can have her old life back. Part of me wanted that, but I've held strong after she discovered how much money she would have to pay me each month, which seems to have angered her towards me. I think there are people who know me who want to set me up with women, but I don't want to do it because I feel like I'm branded as the guy whose wife cheated on him. It's been so long that I don't know how to date. I've had a few fighters do really well on a fairly public stage, and that has been the only spark I've felt in a long time. My next move is unknown. I'll get over this. And go on. I simply haven't reached that level of motivation, but I did have someone I know contact the other guy's wife and show her the evidence I had. I couldn't stand it when nothing happened to him, so this was the next best thing. She didn't believe it at first, but then I heard that they were having serious marital problems. As far as I know, they are together, but I'm furious about everything. One beneficial thing that has happened is that I met a girl through some friends who I'm interested in. I haven't asked her out or anything, but she's gorgeously beautiful and about 14 years my junior. I don't know if that's a big deal, but that's a pretty big age gap given what I've been through. I feel like she's too attractive for me, but she might actually be, I suppose. I've been thinking about her a lot, so that's been the worst half year of my life. I've always been a cheerful person, but I feel so depressed and hopeless. Now, let's see how he ends it. In summary, I found out that my wife was cheating on me with a coworker, so I ended our 15-year relationship. To say that my new life has been an adjustment would be an understatement. I do occasionally feel sad or a sense of loss, but those are brief. When the pandemic struck, I had a very flexible schedule that allowed me to keep the kids with me and homeschool them because my job required me to have physical contact with other people, but the pandemic has slowed that down and left my guys with few opportunities. One of the things that happened after the divorce was that my wife had to take on more accounts at work to pay for her new single living situation and spousal support to me. As a stay-at-home dad, it has been somewhat like this. After the whole ordeal, the younger girl I was interested in took a lengthy assignment with her company in Europe, but we kept in touch via technology. When her assignment ended, she returned, and we have been together ever since. She loves me and my kids, and is incredibly kind and considerate. Prior to our introduction, I was informed that there was an incredible woman who looked like Wonder Woman, and was the sweetest person I've ever met. I thought it was too good to be true, but she is the real deal, and I believe our relationship will likely take some next steps soon. My ex's life hasn't exactly gone as planned. She started drinking and hooking up with random guys she met online, which has also taken a toll on her. In the last few years, she's looked like she's aged 15. She was always attractive, but the last time I saw her, she looked ragged, as if her life force had been sapped. I don't think I'll ever understand how someone who seems content and in control of their life can descend into such a dark place. Her best friend told me that she is miserable and difficult to be around, but she also said that she never thought I would leave her after the affair. I believe she felt in control of me because of her high income, so the affair had unanticipated consequences. I do hope she finds peace for the sake of my child. With the exception of a few difficulties brought on by the pandemic, everything is going well. I am thrilled that I ended my first marriage right away, rather than delaying it because I knew it was the right thing to do. I just continued to grind along, knowing that I would eventually overcome this. If you find yourself in this situation, you should consider the long term, even though you may initially feel devastated. The key is to try to do one thing every day that improves you or adds to your skill set, not self-help stuff, but real skills. I started making short films of the guys I trained and learnt about videography and editing, which has been a fun hobby. I read more books to learn about a variety of topics. Regardless, you should push yourself forward and work hard every day. You just need to work hard and be patient because little things add up. Well, it sounds like things are improving for the OP, but I suppose we might have anticipated where this was going. Congrats, Jude, and I hope it keeps up. To remain optimistic and recover.